Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. These lunch and learns are always pretty unique with people coming and going and eating, but I enjoyed it. It was a little less informal, and I'm just, thankful that you guys are all here today. So I spent a lot of time going through everyone that pre-registered for today's session. So thank you for doing so, the ones of you that did. We have a wide range of companies, industries, company sizes in attendance today. So I did take that into consideration when putting this presentation together. Whether you're a marketing team of 5 or 50, I really think there's something in here for everyone that will resonate. I'm thinking most people here understand the basic principles behind brand and demand marketing. Maybe for some of you that don't, here is a too long, didn't read version that I feel like sums it up pretty easily. Brand marketing, of course. Focused on long-term growth, you're reaching more individuals, you're building trust and fostering relationships. All extremely important things, but it is hard to track. Demand marketing, on the other hand, usually much easier to track. You're oftentimes seeing immediate results by generating leads, which leads to pipeline and revenue. But without brand recognition, demand strategies will only scale so much. This graph here is a representation of the expectations that you would see from a demand gen campaign and a brand marketing campaign. As you guys can see here, the campaign that's focused on generating demand is typically seeing the most impact at the beginning of the campaign. Why is that? Well, there's typically a driving force behind your demand gen efforts, whether it be thought leadership content, a webinar, an event. But over time, that campaign is going to lose impact because many reasons being that the content is no longer relevant. It's become stale. The few people that were truly in market, the 3 to 5% of people that were in market for your solution, have already consumed it. Whereas brand, I'm sure you guys all know, it takes a long time to really feel any direct impact from those brand initiatives. It could be 6 to 9 months, sometimes even longer. LinkedIn recently did a study with B2B marketers on the same topic of brand and demand. Here are the 6 biggest barriers that were reported. Number 1, the inability to see short-term results. Number 2, can't properly track attribution. I feel like those two go hand in hand. The third one, however, is interesting. Organizations' focus is on conversions. I don't know about all of you, but I love the aspects of brand marketing, the messaging, the unique ideas that come out of your brainstorming sessions, finding ways to tap into people's emotions. Let's be real, it can be a tough sell to leadership. If you don't have leadership buy-in and you aren't aligned on your marketing goals, they will struggle to see the value in your brand building efforts because the lack of direct impact or actual tangible results. So here are some stats that summarize the state of current buyer preferences. I think these 4 stats summarize why brand marketing is more important than ever. 73% of B2B purchases are now influenced by millennials. And they're not just being influenced by millennials. In fact, they are in key roles with the direct buying power. For those of you that don't know, the generational breakdown by years, here it is, and the percentage of the influence that they have on purchasing decisions. Millennials currently have the most influence. But as baby boomers and Gen X slowly decrease over these next few years, Gen Z is going to be growing at a rapid pace. As a millennial myself, I feel like we were the first generation to be fully immersed in the digital world. We started networking at an early age on MySpace and then Facebook. We started doing digital research for the first time using Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, Google. But Gen Z, they are the first generation to have 24/7 access to the internet and be connected all the time, practically since birth. They prefer brands that are authentic, transparent, and align with their core values, and they expect a different buying experience. So let's face it, buyers today are more self-sufficient than ever. Many of us have been mastering the art of Google search for the past 20, 25 years. This shift has transformed the buying process. Decision makers now prefer to do their own homework and due diligence before ever engaging with the brand. So much so that Gartner reports 75% of B2B buyers prefer a rep-free sales experience. If there's any salespeople in here, it's not you, it's us. We are just more informed and comfortable going through this buying process without having a helping hand until we get to that stage where we need additional input. We all know B2B buying cycles are long, on average, 6 to 12 months. Some of your cycles might be shorter, fantastic. Some of them could be longer. It really depends on the product that you're selling, the cost of the solution. Generally, the larger the financial commitment, the longer the onboarding time, that makes the sales process tend to be longer. But what's interesting about this stat is that buyers can be 2/3 of the way through their journey before ever engaging with the sales rep. This means that they have been researching you and other vendors potentially for months without you even knowing it. And then last, but certainly not least, Harvard Business Review reports that 90% of buyers have a day one list and will ultimately choose a vendor from that list. What this means, if they don't know about your company, when they uncover the issue that requires a solution or product like yours, you most likely won't be in the running for their consideration. Here's another graph of the representation of a brand campaign. So this is a siloed brand campaign, no demand gen running with it, and you can see, it takes a long time to see impact. But on the other hand, demand is pretty linear. There's always going to be some reported impact of the campaigns, but you can see they're not really scaling over time. Demand needs good brand reinforcement to truly scale. Without brand loyalty and customer retention, you're never going to be able to master the growth that your company needs. So now, if we were to unify these two separate strategies and combine them into an integrated approach where one is complementing the other and they're running cohesively alongside each other, you are going to not only see short-term effects, but long-term growth as well. You are reaching the small amount of people, I think they say between 3 and 5% of people are truly in market at any given time for your solution, but you're also prioritizing your company's future growth and providing value to the buyers that might not be currently in a buying position, but in 12 months, in 24 months, they will be the ones making those decisions. I think this quote summarizes the issue at hand very well. You have to produce results in the short term, but you also have to produce results in the long term. And the long term is not simply the adding up of short terms. If you continue to do the same thing over and over, it'll get you by, but it will never take you to the next level. On the right-hand side, these are the people that you need to be thinking of when it comes to your brand campaigns. Future buyers, I just hinted at this. I urge you all to look at your current clients, the direct contact that is actually buying your solution, look on their LinkedIn, talk to them, see what roles they were in before they were in a position with purchasing power. Because these next generations are currently sitting in those roles, and in a few years will be looking for your product. Additionally, influencers. So this is essentially the buying committee. These are the people that have a say whether they move forward with you or another vendor. Champions. This is the person that is spearheading the initiative, that is doing majority of the research, and requires the most amount of value being presented to them. Including customers as well. You need to be creating content and fostering those relationships with your current customers to ensure that they're receiving value from you, that they feel value, and that they're getting value from your product or solution. On one of the first slides, we saw a stat that said, people are 60 to 70% through their buying journey before ever reaching out. This is what that timeline showcases. This is a very simplified version of what a buying journey looks like. I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of the ones by maybe Gartner, Forrester, where there's 85 different touch points and a lot of attribution that's not trackable. This, to us, represents the big milestones or the things that are happening before they ever engage with your company. This, on the left-hand side, is what most people refer to as the dark funnel. It's all the interactions that are taking place that aren't usually trackable. So that's why being present during these early stages is crucial to be considered down the road. So what we know is that time is of the essence. It's extremely important to be there from the beginning to even be considered in their buying process. So, a wise man once said, if you ain't first, you're last. Which isn't entirely true, but we do know if you're on that day one list, you have a much bigger chance that you are going to be one of the vendors that they do reach out to, that they do evaluate. So how can we reach people earlier in their journey? Well, that's where intent comes in. Intent data can help you focus your immediate efforts on accounts that are showing interest in your product, your solution, or maybe even your competitors. It will help you refine your content strategy to align your content and the topics that you're creating for based off the intent topics that you're seeing actively being searched. And then it will also provide a better content experience for your prospects if you have a better idea of where they are in their journey and what areas of interest within your company do they have top of mind. And the last thing I've got here, reduce turnover. The last thing you want to see is one of your best clients surging for an intent signal for a competitor or another solution that's similar to yours, because that means they might be looking at other options, and when that renewal comes around, you want to make sure that they are happy and that there is no friction between a renewal. So for those of you that are early in your intent journey or in the process of even starting it, here's a breakdown of the different levels of intent data. First party intent, this is your data. This is coming from your digital properties, your website, your email newsletters, social channels, live chat interactions. Second party intent data is typically sourced from external organizations, usually through a partnership or mutual agreement. And then third party is pulled from various outlets across many different channels, many different websites, and third party intent offers the lowest level of accuracy and, I believe, relevancy. Most of the time with third-party intent, you don't know how recent that signal was. What was the signal? Was it a Google search? Did they consume one piece of content? We primarily focus our efforts on our first-party data, but also we utilize a lot of second-party data. I'm in a unique situation. I work for a company that provides intent data solutions to marketers. I have an abundance of intent data that I get to utilize, and I'm still prioritizing and using a lot of second-party intent. Why? Well, when you have the ability to layer your first and second party data, it just increases the accuracy and the insights that you know about your prospects. Second party intent, the ones that we primarily use are review websites like G2, Trust Radius, and this will give us insights into what companies are, one, visiting our own G2 page, who's comparing us to other vendors, who are they comparing us to, or just exploring categories that we are in. So here is some of the first-party data that you all should have access to right now within your own organization. We utilize this data to help us understand, one, where our prospects are in their buying journey, and which of our products is really of interest to them. By knowing these things, it helps us prioritize what accounts to focus on, personalize our outreach based on pages or things that they've consumed already, and then deliver content experiences that are relevant to their needs. So, while intent does give you the upper hand in the buying journey, it might help you uncover people earlier in their stages of the buying process, but it doesn't mean much if your content isn't aligned with the various stages of the full buying journey. You need to have content that provides value each step of the way and connects you to where they are in their different stages. In order to achieve that, you got to have a wide range of content available. It helps you balance your long-term and your short-term growth strategies when you have an abundance of well-thought-out content that aligns with the different stages of the journey. Here are 4 pillars that I came up with when I was working on this. What do they really mean, though? So you need a mix of creative, practical, tactical, and then supportive content. And creativity does matter. That's one of the things I've noticed more recently. I feel like we're seeing a lot of it more in the B2B space, which I love. We're seeing some unique things that are being pushed into market, and creativity does matter. If the message resonates with your audience, if the concept is fresh and it's visually beautiful, people are going to pay attention to it. It's going to pique their interest. Practical, low-level content that educates. Don't be scared to create content that you feel might be too low level or it doesn't necessarily educate who your typical ICP would be. Everyone's at different stages of their career. And we all start somewhere. So that content is needed to help educate a first-time buyer or someone who might not necessarily be familiar with your industry or product. We are constantly monitoring all of our top search phrases on Google search, and the amount of what is, how to searches that are driving traffic to our website justifies the need for it. So how do you stand out and craft campaigns that will resonate with your different personas? I think most importantly, you need to be able to speak their language. We just recently utilized this method when rewriting our whole new website that we did. We went through all of our G2 reviews, all of our testimonials. We listened to hundreds of sales calls to understand how our clients are talking about the issues that we help them solve. And we use terminology and things that they're using because it helps align us with how they think about it. Simplify your message. I think less is more. If you have a clear and precise message, I think that hits a lot harder than some of the things that are out there that are long run-on sentences that include a bunch of fluff words or buzzwords. I think you want to get to the point and make your value clear of the value that your product could bring to their day-to-day lives. And then be agile but consistent. 96% of marketers are measuring the ROI of their marketing investments earlier than 3 months. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We know that the B2B sales cycle is typically 6 months to 12 months, and we're making these quick judgments about what's working and what isn't, but we haven't given it time to flourish. Be agile. So that's consistency. be agile. Don't be scared to change up your messaging, to be A/B testing, to run variations of different ads, different creatives. People react to things differently. When you're doing these brand campaigns, you're really playing on people's emotions and empathy. So we recently did a case study with Workiva. If you don't know who Workiva is, they are a cloud-based reporting platform that streamlines work processes associated with data collection, compliance, and reporting. And they have been a client of DemandWorks since 2018. Well, prior to 2021, they were solely using us for content syndication. We were distributing their content to their ICP, to their personas, and we were generating qualified leads for their sales team and their marketing team. In early 2020, we launched a B2B contact level display product that helps companies keep their brand top of mind with these individuals that have already consumed content or are showing intent. In 2021, they started to test the waters. They ran a few short campaigns. I think they were going through a little bit of the 3-month, where's the ROI? Are we seeing any impact from these campaigns? And then in late 2021, they switched to what I like to call an always-on approach. They've kept the campaigns running consistently since 2021, and the results that were achieved are fantastic. As you can see here, 128% increase in total sales accepted leads, 62% increase in open opportunities, a 0.44% increase in click-through rate, and a 500% increase in closed-won opportunities. These stats are great. They're fantastic, and I've been going to these conferences for a long time, and whenever a case study is shared, it's always the end result. But today we're going to talk about the how and the why they saw these results. So here are some examples of when they went from a very demand gen-centric approach to a more integrated approach, and they were utilizing brand messaging, brand plays that cohesively went with the programs that they were running with us. Here are some examples of how they paired content with additional brand messaging throughout the different stages of the journey. These are just a few examples from their ESG persona, but at one point we had over 100 different creatives running across their 5 different personas, and we're able to optimize based on messaging that was resonating, what was converting, and it's not very often that you have a company that, one, has abundance of great content and a creative team that isn't, backfilled 3 months. So it just shows that when you have these different assets working together, that it makes an impact. They have informational guides, checklists, infographics, ESG reporting 101, lower level content that is reaching people earlier in their journey, and then also prioritizing future buyers. They also ran more tactical content being delivered to high intent prospects that we were tracking, that we could see were in a buying process, have signaled that they would be looking for a solution similar to theirs in X amount of months, and we were distributing that content to the champions, to the influencers of that buying committee, and they would use case studies that we would serve to the buying committee to help build brand trust and that loyalty. When you can pair your company with a major company like FedEx, it helps build a little bit of trust and makes it a little easier to move forward through the journey. This Workiva case study is just one example of how integrated brand and demand strategies improves short-term results, all while investing in the future growth of the business. Like I said before, they did a fantastic job with all the content and their messaging, and the ads are clear and the messaging is precise. I love some of these ones. Stop putting off your financial transformation. Simple. But you know what? The people who are putting off their financial transformation, it probably hits. If that resonates with them, they feel it. And then all reports, one platform, simplified now. I think they did a fantastic job with their messaging. You understand what it is without having a lot of context behind the imagery. So at DemandWorks, we work with a huge range of organizations from startups, SMBs, enterprise, and we are seeing similar results across the board and across other industries. The buying process has changed. People are finding their information differently. Here's a quick slide that shows how DemandWorks helps organizations position themselves throughout the buying journey, leveraging our first and second party intent data in the various channels. We help clients reach prospects earlier in their journey to ensure that they end up on that day one list. I believe we might have a few minutes left for this, or actually I might be getting close here. I'm going to hang around for a few minutes. If you guys do have any questions, would love to answer those for you. I appreciate you guys all being here. I'll be at our booth after this session for a while. If you guys want to stop by and chat, would love to talk with you guys and know what makes up your brand. Thank you, I really appreciate it.